Hello students, myself Ushmita. Hope you are doing well. Today we are going to start our next part of our chapter, Structure of the Atom. In this part, we are going to study about electron distribution, about valency, atomic number, mass number, isotopes and isobars. So first topic starts with how are electrons distributed in different orbits or shells. So orbits, so that was circular path, means that we have studied that electrons revolve around the nucleus. So we have to say how electrons are distributed in different orbits. In first orbit, how many electrons can we put in the first orbit and second orbit? We will study about the electron distribution. And electron distribution is also known as electronic configuration. In short, we say EC, means electronic configuration, or we can also say electron distribution in different orbits or shells. So this distribution of electrons in different orbits or shells was suggested by Bohr and Bury. So they gave us some rules, means three rules are there basically. Our first rule starts with that maximum number of electrons present in a shell is given by the formula 2n square. Means to distribute electrons in a different orbit or shells, we have to use a formula that is 2n square, where n is the orbit number, or you can say energy level. Means orbit number was first orbit, second orbit, third, fourth, and so on. So first is K shell, also known as first orbit. So you have to use this formula to know that in K shell how many electrons can be put in the K shell, or you can say in the first orbit. 2 into 1 means 1 was K shell is also known first orbit, and its orbit number. K means 1. So 2 into 1 square is equals to 2. Means in K shell we can put only 2 electrons. Next is L shell, or you can also say second orbit. Means in the n, in the place of n, 2 will come. Due to second orbit, 2 into 2 square is equals to 8. Means in the L shell, 8 electrons can come. Similarly, M shell, also known as third orbit, 2 into 3 square is equals to 18. And in N shell, also known as fourth orbit, by calculating we will get 32. Means in the K shell, you can put 2 electrons, in L shell 8, in M shell 18, and N shell 32 electrons. Means M shell is having capacity of filling up to 18 electrons. N shell is having the capacity of filling up to 32 electrons. L shell is having capacity of filling up to 8, and K shell is having capacity of filling up to 2 electrons. Means not more than 2 or 8. We can't put electrons in K or L shell. But the second rule says that maximum number of electrons that is accumulated in the outermost shell is 8. Suppose if we are writing the electronic configuration, or we are distributing the electrons in any of the atom of an element, and M shell becomes the outermost shell. Means here we know that M shell is having the capacity of filling up to 18 electrons, but maximum number we have to put up to only 8 electrons. Means this is a rule we have to follow. Okay, no doubt that it is having the capacity of filling up 18, or N shell is having the capacity of filling up 32. But for the maximum electrons, we have to fill up to 8. Means maximum number of electrons that can be accumulated in the outer shell is 8. Right? So this here the shells are orbited like 2, 8, 18 and 32. And third rule says that means we have to fill the electrons in a stepwise manner. Means firstly we have to accumulate the electrons in the first orbit, then second and third and fourth. This does not happen that you are filling firstly first orbit, then you are filling the fourth or third. No, firstly you have to fill the first, second, third, fourth. Means in a stepwise manner you have to fill the electrons. Otherwise the electronic configuration will get wrong. So taking the example of a magnesium. So this is the example of magnesium. Means number of electrons are 12. In magnesium number of electrons are 12, and the symbol of magnesium is Mg. This also you have to learn the symbols and what are the symbol of the element. Which of aluminium, that is Al, sodium Na, magnesium Mg, and number of electrons present in magnesium are 12. And now I have to write the electronic configuration, electronic distribution, that in K shell how many electrons will come? 2 electrons, in L shell 8, and M shell 2 electrons. How? Let's see. Suppose this is a K shell. We know that I have told you the rules that in K shell 2 electrons will come. So I have written 2 electrons in the K shell. Then L shell is there. In L shell also means up to 8 electrons. It is having the capacity of filling up to 8 electrons. Then I have filled with 8 electrons. Over here 10 electrons are get complete. Means in K and L shell 10 electrons they get filled. The 2 electrons are left out of 12. So 2 electrons I will put in the M shell. It is having the capacity of filling up to 8 electrons. Again, second rule means the outermost shell you can fill up to 8 electrons only. So this is the outermost shell, M shell. So I have filled this with 2 electrons because 2 electrons were left. And also see I have filled this stepwise manner. Firstly K shell will come 2 electrons. Then L shell, how many electrons are left? I will fill up to 8. Means up to 8. Okay, I have filled the electrons, but 2 electrons are left behind. So I will fill in the M shell, the next shell. That is the M shell, that is 2 electrons I have filled. If any other element is there, it is having, suppose 9 electrons are left after filling in the L shell. Then 8 electrons I will put in the M shell. Then 1 electron will left, then that electron I will put in the N shell. Means M shell is also having the filling capacity of up to 8 electrons, and N shell also. So 1 electron will left, that I will put in the N shell. Means this are the electron configuration according to the atomic number of electrons. You have to see that how many electrons I can distribute in the different orbits or energy level. So I have shown a diagram that this is a nucleus. The orbit which is near to the nucleus, that is K shell. In that K shell, how many electrons are there? 2. So I will represent it with the 2 electrons. Right. Next is L shell with 8 electrons. The orbit which is near to the K shell, that is the L shell. This one is an L shell or second orbit, you can say. So this orbit is filled with the 8 electrons. Next is M shell. The outermost shell, means this is outermost shell. No other shell is there. So after this, so this is outermost shell, and this is filled with the 2 electrons. So I fill 2 electrons over here and here. So it's your wish that you are filling 2 electrons up on this side, this side. If this is a representation, means just you have to fill this orbit with 2 electrons, M shell, L shell with 8 electrons, K shell with 2 electrons. So next topic is valency. We have learned that how electrons are arranged in different shells and orbits. Over here, the electrons that is present in the outermost shell of an atom is known as valency. Means outermost shell, if you are distributing the electrons of any atom of an element, suppose and if you are filling the N shell, so in the N shell, how many electrons are present in that outermost shell? If you are filling the N shell, that will be the outermost shell. If you are filling the L shell, means that is the last shell to fill the electrons. So that will be the outermost shell. So the electrons that is present in the outermost shell of an atom is known as valency. So from the Boltzmann scheme, they said that the electrons that can be accommodated in the outermost shell is 8, and we observed that the electrons that were accommodated up to the 8 shell, means atoms of an element that were completely filled with the 8 electrons in the outermost shell, they show little chemical reactivity, means the valency or the combined capacity was 0. Why? Because 8 electrons are completely filled. We know that everything in this world, if or atom or human beings, they need stability, they need to be stable. So the atom, if the atom is filled with the 8 electrons in the outermost shell, so there will be no valency because the outermost shell is filled with the 8 electrons. The capacity of the outermost shell was up to 8. So that outermost shell is filled with the 8 electrons. So its combining capacity means it will not combine with the other atom, or its valency will be 0. For example, helium. If helium has 2 electrons, and if you are going to fill the electrons in the energy level, that will be the K shell. Means 2 electrons will be filled in the K shell, and that K shell is only the outermost shell. Means K shell was having the capacity of filling 2 electrons of up to 2, and helium was having 2 electrons only, and we put that 2 electrons in the outermost shell, that was K shell. So means outermost shell or the capacity that was completely filled. Helium atom is filled with its electron, that was only 2 electrons. So its valency will be 0. You can see that helium valency is 0. Combining capacity, you can say its valency is 0. And the outermost shell that had 8 electrons, that is known as octet. For example, the outermost shell had 8 electrons positive in octet. If the K shell is filled with the 2 electrons, that is known as duplet. For example, in in helium, that if helium is turned with the filled with the 2 electrons in the outermost shell, that is a K shell, that will be known as duplet, and the outermost shell that had 8 electrons poses an octet. For example, L shell, M shell, N shell, if they are filled with the 8 electrons, they will be known as octet, and when the K shell is filled with the 2 electrons, but remember K shell should be the outermost electron, that then it will form a duplet, right? So outermost shell had 8 electrons poses an duplet. So we know, I told you that at every atom needs to be stable. They say atoms say that we need a stability. So what they do that every atom of an element, they think that we need an octet. We have to complete an outermost shell. So what they do to complete the outermost shell? They to become themselves stable. So our atoms, they react. How they react to achieve? By sharing, gaining or losing electrons. Yes, atoms, they share the electrons also, they gain the electrons also, or they lose the electrons also. For example, fluorine. In the fluorine, the outermost shell is filled with the 7 electrons, and its valency will be 7, right? But it is easier to lose 7 electrons for fluorine. No, so it will be difficult for the fluorine to lose 7 electrons. So instead of losing 7 electrons, it will gain 1 electron from the other atom. right? So to gain it will gain the one electron and the octet will get complete, right? That's why the fluorine will gain one electron, as and the outermost shell rate there were 7 electrons present. And if I talk about lithium, in the lithium, the outermost shell is filled with a one electron. So it is easier to gain 7 electrons or lose 1 electron. Obviously, to lose 1 electron, it is easier that, okay, I am losing 1 electron. So that will, to form a duplet, right? So by gaining, sharing or losing electrons, sharing is also done in the case of carbon. Means carbon neither do gaining or sharing or losing, it shows sharing. Right, so other atoms they gain or lose electrons also. That you can see the table over here. I have mentioned of the 18 of the 18 atoms. You can see the symbol, atomic number, number of protons, electrons, and protons. That neutrons and how many electrons, proton, neutrons are present. What is a valency? What is will be the charge? Charge is also very similar. What is a valency? That will be the charge. If the electron is gained, if I say electron is gained, it will form negative charge. If the electron is losing, means the atom is losing an electron, it will form positive charge. For example, I told you the example of fluorine. Means in the outermost shell, 7 electrons are present, right? 1 electron it will, so it will gain. So what will it has gained the electron? Gain means negative 1 electron. Second, that F negative we write, means fluoride we write. Why F negative we are writing? And that's why we are writing F negative, because it has gained 1 electron, right? So that's why charge also you can write that what will be the charge. Similarly, magnesium Mg2 positive we write, because the outermost shell, means in outermost shell 2 electrons are there, right? So valency will be 2 and charge also Mg2 positive. So right, why? Because it has lost 2 electrons, so that why positive, means you are losing, means you're donating to someone, right? So good thing. So positive will come. If you're taking someone something from someone, or you're gaining, that will form negative charge, right? You can remember from this trick that if you're gaining, means negative charge will come. If you're losing electrons, then positive charge will come. And sharing is done in the case of carbon. In carbon also you will read that in detail chapter, that why sharing is done in carbon, not in other atoms. In other atoms also sharing is done, but basically we read about carbon. Sharing is done, right? So this was a valency. And what is a valency? Means in therefore, if I say that the combining capacity of a atom, that means electrons have present in outermost shell, means outermost shell. But remember the word outermost. Outermost is important. That electrons that are present in the outermost shell, they will show the valency, not any K shell or L shell. If you're filling the electrons in an atom and suppose M is the outermost shell, so how many electrons are present in the outermost shell, that is a M shell, that will be known as the valency. Right? So this was the topic of valency. From this only we write about charges in chapter 3. I have told you about the charge also. We were revising Mg2 positive, potassium charges we were writing. So on basis of valency only we were able to write the charges. So means now you will find the easy topic of that one, that how to write the valency and charge, and you can see the table also. You have to revise the table, which is very important. So on the basis of valency, on the basis of the electronic configuration, you can revise that chapter 3rd table also and this table also. Now come to the next topic, that is atomic number. We read it that hydrogen atomic number is 1, carbon atomic number is 6. But basically what is atomic number? Atomic number is total number of protons present in nucleus. Means total number, how many of protons that are present in the nucleus, that is known as atomic number. And atomic number symbol is Z, means it is denoted by Z. So what is the base atomic number? Means the total number of protons determines the atomic number that are present in the nucleus. We know protons are present in the nucleus, but to how many protons are present, on the basis of the protons only we write the atomic number. For example, hydrogen atomic number is 1, because only one proton is present in the nucleus. Similarly, of carbon atomic number is 6. Why? Because in carbon proton, 6 protons are present in the nucleus. That's why carbon atomic number is 6. So we know that all atoms of the same element, if we are talking about of carbon only, that in carbon it is an element. So all atoms of a carbon have same atomic number, that will be 6. Similarly, of hydrogen, means all atoms of an element will have the same atomic number. So this is atomic number, that on the basis of the protons that are present at nucleus, so we write atomic number. And next is mass number. Mass number denoted by A, means capital A, we write mass number. Now what is mass number? Mass number is the sum of total number of protons and neutrons present in the nucleus. means how many protons are present and how many neutrons. By adding protons and neutrons that are present in the nucleus, we get the mass number. What was atomic number? Atomic number was only total number of protons that were present in the nucleus, and mass number is sum of, or you can say addition of, total number of protons and total number of neutrons present in the nucleus. That is mass number, and mass number is denoted by capital A and atomic number is denoted by capital Z. Don't get confused between the symbols. That atomic number may be written by capital A. No, it will be written by capital Z, and mass number will be written by capital A. So this is the definition that what is mass number. It is sum of total number of protons and neutrons present in the nucleus. And how to calculate? For example, carbon mass number is 12 mu, and mu is the that is some unit that we are writing a mass number, atomic number. And how many protons are present in the carbon? That is 6, and similar neutrons are also present in the nucleus, that is 6 in the carbon. So by adding the number of protons and neutrons, we get mass number, that is 12u. Maybe in some of the other atoms, number of protons can be different, number of neutrons can be different. So by adding that, we will get that one respectively mass number. In carbon, protons and neutrons are same, that is 6 mu, and by means of protons 6 mu are present, and in neutrons 6 neutrons are present. So by adding, we get mass number, that is 12 mu. But how to write the atomic number, mass number of an element? So this is a representation. X is a symbol of an element, like carbon C is there, magnesium Mg is there, and on the above, means on the upper case, A is that mass number and Z is atomic number. Means atomic we write at the bottom, and at the upper case we write the mass number. For example, carbon atomic number is 6, so we have written at the bottom, and mass number is 12 mu. So in the upper case we will write the 12 mu. So this is a representation. Means in this way we have to calculate the mass number and atomic number. Again I am repeating, atomic number was total number of protons present in the nucleus, that was atomic number denoted by capital Z, and mass number is addition of total number of protons and total number of neutrons present in the nucleus, and it is denoted by capital A. And this is a representation. And next topic is isotopes. Now what are isotopes? Isotopes are atoms of same elements. Means in atoms there is some differentiable of same elements, like atoms of same elements having same atomic number. Means atomic number will be same, different will be mass number, right? For example, protium, deuterium and tritium, these are the isotopes of hydrogen. What are isotopes? Means atoms are there, they are having the same atomic number, different mass number. Mass number will be different, but atomic number will be same. For example, in hydrogen, it has 3 isotopes. The first isotope name is protium, second is deuterium, and third is tritium. So you can see the upper case is mass number, lower is atomic number. You can see that this hydrogen mass number is 1, deuterium hydrogen mass number is 2, and tritium hydrogen mass number is 3. Means they all 3 have different mass number, but which is the same thing, that is atomic number of protium, deuterium and tritium. These 3 isotopes of hydrogen, they have the same atomic number but different mass number. This is known as isotopes. These isotopes are also present in the nature, that they are having a different atomic number, same atomic number, different mass number. So they are some of the exceptional cases too. And chemical properties of isotopes are similar. But chemical properties, they will be similar. That what is the role of the hydrogen in the nature? That chemical properties will be similar, but different is the physical properties. And what is the physical properties? Like what will be the density, boiling point, melting point, what will be the nature, color, state. So that is a physical property, that will be different. Chemical reactivity means chemical property means how the hydrogen, means how the protium, deuterium, tritium, they will react with the other matter, that will remain same. That means no doubt whether it is protium, deuterium or tritium, that will remain same. Chemical property will remain same. Different will be physical property, means it can be different viscosity, melting point, density, smell, state, color, what will ever. Means different will be the physical property, and chemical property are the similar of isotopes. Next is many elements, they consist of mixture of isotopes. Like for example of hydrogen, you can say it is having a protium, deuterium, tritium, 3 isotopes are present of a same element. So that same line is written over here, that many elements consist of a mixture of isotopes. And we know that chlorine exists in the means chlorine also has 2 isotopic forms with the masses 35 mu and the mass 37 mu. We are writing an atomic mass, that mass number of chlorine is 35.5 mu. But in the reality, chlorine exists in a 2 isotopic form. first is 35 mu and second is 37 mu. So the question arises that what is the mass of the chlorine? So obviously, right, if two isotopic forms exist, one is of 35 mu, then second 37 mu, then why we are 35.5 mu? What is the mass number? So we write the average of the two isotopic forms of chlorine. That means we find the average of 35 mu of the mass of 35 mu and mass of 37 mu to get the mass of a chlorine. So to write that, we are finding that average. So how to find that average? So I'm going to show you. So this is a way to calculate the average atomic mass of chlorine atom. Chlorine with the mass of 35 mu and 37 mu is present in the ratio 3:1. Means 35 mu, that the mass of 35 mu is present in the 3 ratio and 37 mu is present in the X ratio. So how to calculate 35 into 75 upon 100? How is 75 came? 3x plus x is equals to 100. This one ratio I'm calculating to find the value of x. So 4x is equals to 100 and x is equals to 25. If I multiply with 3x, so 3x I will get 75. Means 35 mu was of 75%. 35 into 75 upon 100, I have spoke percentage. So in place of percentage, I write upon 100. Similarly, 37 into 35 upon 25 upon 100. So by calculating, you will get 35.5 mu. So this is the average atomic mass of chlorine atom. So that is 35.5 mu. This does not mean that one atom of chlorine we have a fraction of mass that is 35.5 mu. It means that if you take a certain amount of chlorine atom, it will contain both isotopes that is with mass 35 mu and 37 mu, and I will get that in the fraction of that, or you can say the average, that is 35.5 mu. So this is a way to calculate the average atomic mass of not only chlorine atom, if any other atom is there which is having two or more than two isotopes, and you have to calculate the average mass. So with this help we can calculate. So these are some of the applications of isotope. First application is isotope of uranium is used as a fuel in nuclear reactors, and isotope of cobalt, it is used in the treatment of cancer. Isotope of iodine, it is used in treatment of goiter. So more isotopes are there that are used for various purposes. These are some of the applications of isotopes that you have to learn, which is important. Means isotope of uranium is used as a fuel in nuclear reactors. Isotope of cobalt used in the treatment of cancer, and isotope of iodine is used in the treatment of goiter. And one more isotope is there, that is carbon-14. It is also used to sample old living organisms. Means that is also known as carbon dating, for which we come to know that how old the sample was. So these are some of the applications that are important. Our next topic is isobars. So isobars means and isotopes, they are correlating, but there is some difference between isotopes and isobars. Isobars are atoms of different elements with different atomic number but same number. Means atoms, they have a different elements. Means if we have to count the atoms of different elements with different atomic number, and the atomic number will be different but the mass number will be same. Example, calcium and argon. Calcium atomic number is 20 but mass number is 40. Similarly of argon, mass number is 40 but differences of atomic number, that is 80. So it means atoms of different elements, atoms are there of different elements. In isotopes, atoms of same elements were there, in which we write about carbon, means isotopes of carbon, isotopes of hydrogen, and isotopes of chlorine. Over here we have to talk about atoms of different elements which have different atomic number, like calcium atomic number is 20 and argon atomic number is 18, but they have same mass number, that is 40. So this is the isobar. So how, and this is a differentiated how it is isotope and isobar. So let's recap that isotopes were the atoms of the same elements and isobars are atoms of different elements. Example you can see over here of isobar and isotope of hydrogen chlorine. Right? Next is mass numbers different. In isotopes mass number is different and isobar mass number is same. Like calcium and argon mass number is same of 14 isobar. Next third one in isotope is atomic number is same. And in isobar atomic number is different. Means vice versa, you have two atoms of same element in isotopes. In isobars, atoms of different elements. Here mass number will be different, then here mass number is same in isobars. In isotopes, atomic number is same. In isobars, atomic number is different. So this was a chapter that we talked about how electrons are distributed, what is atomic number, what is mass number, what is the isobars and isotopes, what is the difference between isotopes and isobuds. I hope so you enjoyed a lot. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.